Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balcavage back for another edition of Thyroid Thursday. And today we're talking about stress management and how this is a key factor to recover your thyroid physiology. A lot of times people just want to know what the magic dose of thyroid medication is that's going to fix them or optimize them, but they're missing the big point. Many times thyroid physiology changes that causes them hypothyroid symptoms, hyperthyroid symptoms that cause thyroiditis and gland dysfunction aren't the problem. They are a sign of a problem. They're the adaptive change due to some type of excessive stress response. So let me give you an example here. So let's say there was a tiger that was just dumped into the room that you're sitting in right now. That tiger would elicit danger to your brain, right? And so your body would shift its physiology from the state we call homeostasis to a state we call allostasis. Okay, and when we shift from homeostasis to allostasis, our body sets a priority. We're in danger, and we need to put more resources to escaping the danger or protecting ourselves from the danger, and down-regulate resources to the less important systems at the moment. So what happens when we shift into danger physiology? We get an upregulation of our fight or flight system. We get more drive to the brain, and we get more drive of energy to our muscle tissue. And we get down regulation to more of our parasympathetic systems. And so the brain and muscle get most of the priority, and then non-essential systems to survival get down regulated. So we might see your digestion gets down regulated, your sleep gets down regulated, your sex organs and sex hormones get down regulated, the cells themselves, the physiology of the cells shift into survival mode, and we call the survival mode a cell danger response. And so how does the cell shift from this homeostatic state to the allostatic state? The shifting of thyroid hormone inside the cell sets the stage for the shift and really supports every phase of it. So we get a shift in thyroid physiology. We'll get a decrease in T4 to T3 conversion in the tissues and cells, cellular actions with priority, and we'll get a reduced conversion of T4 to T3 in the non-essential systems. Like if this tiger is chasing me, I don't need to make stomach acid, pancreatic enzymes, bile. I'm not going to work on detox at the moment. I'm not going to work on sleep. I'm not going to work on sex organs. So everything that doesn't need energy at the moment, the way we slow those systems down is we reduce the conversion of T4 to T3 available in those cells so that there's T3 supporting the critical functions and down-regulating the less critical functions to survival. If we escape the tiger, this is like a temporary thing, the cell danger response goes away and we return to normal homeostasis, we return to normal thyroid physiology. But what if the tiger never leaves? Like, what if your stress, what's driving you into a cell danger response, never goes away? Then you're stuck in this upregulated sympathetic nervous system, downregulated sympathetic nervous system, and an altered thyroid physiology. And so it's no wonder then that when you have chronic hypothyroid signs and symptoms that you have, or chronic thyroid condition, that you have gut issues and sex hormone regulation issues and sleep issues and all number of issues because thyroid conversion has been downregulated. So if we have this chronic cell danger response because my brain is perceiving I'm being chased by the tiger every day because of your stress load, emotional stress, work stress, family stress, relationship stress, financial stress, organisms, toxins, anything that creates an excessive stress load for you can trigger the cell danger response. And so what we have when we have this kind of chronic cell stress responses, we have tissues, some tissues are in more of a hypothyroid state, and you're having signs and symptoms, and other ones may be more in a hyperthyroid state, like your brain, and this is why maybe you can't sleep at night, you have a lot of insomnia. We wind up with chronic inflammation and immune activation. We wind up with thyroiditis that eventually turns into glandular hypothyroidism. And then you get put on medication, and despite medication, especially T4, you have chronically low T3. Well, why do you have chronically low T3? Because you're in this chronic cell stress response. you have reduced conversion of T4 to T3. This isn't broken physiology, this is adaptive. Now, sure, somebody may come in and say, well, we need to give you more T4. You might need some T4. Some people will say, well, you might need some T3 as well. You might need some T3 to match with your thyroid gland. But if you're taking more than the 5 or 10 micrograms that your thyroid gland would normally make, your doctor's not optimizing you by giving you 20 or 30 or 40. They're just flooding the system with more thyroid hormone. But if you're still in this state, it's why it doesn't work well. It's why you can't find a magic dose. It's why you might feel better, but you don't feel great on it. This is what I call thyroid purgatory. You're stuck in this state between where you were without medication and where you really want to be. And so what are the warning signs? The warning signs is that you still have hypothyroid symptoms and hyperthyroid symptoms. You got multiple organ systems that aren't working right. You're not regulating glucose right. You're tired, you're fatigued, you're gaining body fat, you have anxiousness, anxiety, irritability, depression, you've got insomnia. Another warning sign is that when you've been given medication, it feels good temporarily, but then the feeling doesn't last. Or when somebody looks at your T3 levels on T4 medication, it's too low. And maybe you're the person who, when they get given T3, you feel a little bit better, you still don't feel great, but you can't find a dose of T4 and T3 that makes you feel optimal or back to normal health. So what can you do? One of those things is you have to do a self-assessment. You have to start saying, what's the state that I'm in? And sometimes it's hard to determine that on your own, but I have so many people that when I start talking to them about their health and their well-being and their thyroid struggles, they already know they're in a state of chronic stress. And they don't realize that if they're in this allostatic state, more thyroid hormone isn't going to make them feel optimal. Why? Because you're still stuck in this state where your cells aren't going to regulate thyroid hormone optimally, despite how much you put in. 2, once you realize that you're in a cell's danger state, this allostatic state, you got to start looking at your life, your habits, your behaviors, your diet, your nutrition, your relationships. Like, start figuring out what's contributing to your excessive stress load. Because ultimately, if you want to recover your thyroid physiology, it's not about how much medication you take. It's about, can you get yourself out of the cell danger physiology and back into homeostasis? So self-assessment, what state are you in? Are you in homeostasis? Probably not if you struggle with chronic thyroid issues. And then what's contributing to the stress load? And then start making changes in your habits and your behaviors so that you can start eliminating some of those things that are contributing to an excessive stress load. The third thing is you got to change your mindset. Too many people think that the things that happen outside their body are the problem. Those are the stressors. Like somebody yelled at me, right? Or I got fired. Those are things that they suck, right? You don't want those things to happen. And you're entitled to your pity party. But if you perceive somebody yelling at you as your issue and not theirs, and you carry that with you, that contributes to your stress load. If you get fired but then dwell on how bad it is and that life is terrible, you're adding to your stress load. You can get fired and say, like, that sucks. I have your pity party, but then say, okay, I didn't really, maybe I'll find a better job, or I'm going to look for a better job, or maybe I'll change a career. You can always change how you perceive the experience. That's your choice. And then the last thing is, if you're struggling to recover and you're looking to get your thyroid physiology back, and you've tried the T4 only, I tried T3 and T4, I tried ARM, I tried NP thyroid, tried all the different concoctions of thyroid medication that people say they can help optimize you with just the right dose, consider that it's less about the medication. The reason you're not responding as your doctor would like you to respond and how you would want to respond is because you're stuck in this cell stress allostatic regulation. And we need to reduce your excessive stress load if we're going to help you recover your thyroid physiology. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If you want help from me potentially, just go to my profile, schedule a complimentary discovery call, and we'll see what we can do to help you. All right? Take care.